Hey everyone, it's Matt. Stimulus checks. Are they to blame for the recent mania in stocks and the relentless bull market that continues to run higher and higher? Well, let's get into it and discuss this for a few minutes. First off, let's talk about a recent study that came out regarding the spending patterns of those individuals receiving the stimulus checks. So remember back in about April of 2020, everybody got $1,200 in a stimulus check? Well, then again, in the end of 2020 and early 2021, most people, once again, got another $600 stimulus check. Well, let's talk about this study for just a second so we can better understand the spending habits and see where this money is flowing. Is it going into the market? Is that what is driving the mania in stocks lately and driving this bull market higher and higher on basically a daily basis? Or what is propelling this thing higher? Well, there's a study that was recently released, and what it found is that households earning under $50,000 took their stimulus checks and spent them almost immediately on necessities, things like food, utilities, rent, gas, pharmacy, things like this, the necessities of life. Whereas those households earning $78,000 or more spent their stimulus checks either on paying down debt or saving it. Well, let's talk about this a little bit further then. So what are people doing with their stimulus checks? Well, based on the higher income brackets or the households with $78,000 or more, based on this study, it seems that these people are putting it into savings and or maybe using it as play money in the stock market, right? So is it a little bit of a coincidence that there we are right at about around the time that the first $1,200 stimulus check was approved in early 2020, in late March is when it was approved, and they started going out in early April. That's when we saw the market bottom in March and the thing rip higher, and it basically hasn't looked back. Well, could it continue to be propelled by that $1,200 that everybody was getting? Maybe they were looking at it saying, the money's nice. I'll take a free $1,200 and I don't really have a use for it right now, but I'll just throw it into the market because who cares, right? The government just gave me $1,200. Why do I really care about it? Let's just throw it in the market and see what happens. Well, there actually are some studies coming out or that have already been released saying, yes, absolutely, a lot of money in people who didn't necessarily need the money were just taking that money and just piling it into the stock market, along with some of that unemployment benefits. Remember, for 4 months there in mid-ish 2020, there were a lot of people, 25 million or something people getting unemployment benefits. Well, they were getting unemployment benefits from their state and from that federal kicker, the $600. Well, that resulted in a ton of extra cash. Again, a lot of people needed that money to survive, but maybe some of those people took that money and said, hey, the extra $600 is basically just a huge bonus. I'm going to peel off maybe $200-$300 a week and just start piling this crap into the market, right? Driving things higher. Well, as the market kind of slowed down a little bit toward the end of the year, guess what? Everybody got another infusion of $600 stimulus checks at the end of the year and early in 2021, once again, driving the market absolutely crazy. So there's been a huge influx of retail traders into these retail platforms like Robinhood, where they can just simply open up their phone and make a few trades by just swiping or whatever it is. It's very, very simple just to execute a few trades. These retail brokers have made it so easy for people just to dump a few bucks in and start trading almost immediately. They make it so easy. It's like, how couldn't I trade with this, right? So ultimately, the answer is yeah, absolutely. Some of this market mania is as a result of the money because of these stimulus checks. But at the same time, you also have to remember we have the Fed pumping how many billions, tens of billions of dollars into the markets on a monthly basis. So again, they're going to keep running this thing higher and higher because why wouldn't they? They're printing money, and then what do? Just pile it into the market. So, that's kind of what's happening. So either way, yeah, the stimulus checks have been a huge lifeline for so many people. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everybody is doing this with stimulus checks, not by any means. There's a lot of people that really need this money, desperately. And I feel so bad for all the people who desperately need this money. And they're taking forever. Congress is taking forever to approve this money. But yeah, for sure, the people who don't necessarily need it, rather than throwing it in savings, yeah, they've just been piling this stuff in the market. And depending on where they're buying, I mean, basically, you could have bought anywhere over the last, essentially, almost a year now, and you could have been doing pretty dang well, right? So anyway, certainly very interesting with these stimulus checks. It sounds like the next one is going to be more focused on those lower income individuals, which is probably a really good thing because those are the people who truly need it, right? So anyway, certainly interesting to watch this market continue to run higher almost on a daily basis. Pretty scary at the same time because, as the old saying goes, what goes up must come down. Whether you like it or not, it all has to come down at some point. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Enjoy your day, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you again in the next video.